afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Sure.
Thank you. My name is Lindela Pinda, and I'm not going alone. I'm going with Andre. Next to me, my colleague. You can say hi to him.
Hi.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Robben Island. Ladies and gentlemen, Robben Island was first used as a dumping place, a place for banishment. In 1996, Robben Island was declared as the national monument. Then in 1997, it was declared as the National Museum. 1999, Robben Island was declared as the National Heritage. National World Heritage Site. Then in 2006, it was declared as the National Heritage Site. Ladies and gentlemen, the history of Robben Island spans more than 500 years. Robben Island was used as a source of natural resources for the passing ships, a coastal defense, a training station, a hospital, post office, as well as a quarantine station. Ladies and gentlemen, the building you see on your right hand side, the great building, it was used as the visitor center. This is where the political prisoners were to come and meet with their family members. Ladies and gentlemen, they were to visit once in 6 months and spend only 30 minutes. There were 2 languages were allowed to be spoken, which is the Afrikaans and the English. If one is unable to speak one of those 2, then you will just watch your family member without saying anything. Ladies and gentlemen, the time they were communicating, there were glass plate in between, and there were warders who were listening what the prisoner is saying, and the other side what the visitor is saying. They were not allowed to speak things that are negative about the prison. They were not allowed even to speak about the politics. Otherwise, the visit will be cutted. Ladies and gentlemen, if one wanted to visit, supposed to be 16 years or older. If you miss a boat from the mainland, then you have to book another visit. There were no physical contact. That is all about the visitor center, ladies and gentlemen. Your tour is divided into 2 phases, which is, the first one is the general history of Robben Island with the bus tour. Then the second one, you're gonna go to the maximum security prison, where we are going to meet with the ex-political prisoner who's gonna take you through the second part of this tour. Thank you. On your far right hand side, you see a building there with a green roof. Ladies and gentlemen, that building we call it Kramat. It was built by the political prisoners in commemorating the Prince of Madura, the guy who died here in Robben Island. His body was taken to Indonesia and he was buried in Jakarta. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prince of Madura, he was banished to the island in 1740s because he was leading the military resistance to Dutch expansion in East Indies. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Muslim people sometimes they visit Robben Island and they go to Dramati. When they are there, they have to take off the shoes to show the respect. Ladies and gentlemen, just in front of us, you see the building in front of us. This is the maximum security prison, where your second phase of this tour gonna take place. This prison was built by the prisoners themselves. Thank you. they were taken away from their parents. They were adopted to the mainland. Ladies and gentlemen, plus minus 1,200 graves that are visible now. There are graves that are marked. Some of them are unmarked. Those that are unmarked are for people who were buried in plastics. Ladies and gentlemen, the buildings that were used by the people suffering with leprosy, they were banished because the authorities, they had a fear that the disease might spread. Thank you. Any one of you who knows Mr. Sobukwe
Yes.
and Mr. Nelson Mandela?
Nope.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. On your left hand side is a small building with a tank. It was used as the 4th prison here in Robben Island. That prison was only for one man. His name is Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe. He was born in Eastern Cape, in the place called Gafreinet. He was born in 1924. Then he died in 1978. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sobukwe studied in the University of Fort Hare in Eastern Cape, which it was the only black university by that time. He was the ANC Youth League member by that time. Then after a year he joined ANC Youth League. He was elected as the president of students, which is the SRC. Then, ladies and gentlemen, in 1950s, because of the different ideologies between him and the ANC, then he decided to form his own political party, which is the PAC. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sobukwe was one of the people that were fighting the apartheid laws in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are at the lime quarry. This is where the political prisoners were performing their hard labor. Bear in your mind, ladies and gentlemen, not just political prisoners, but the political leaders. Just to mention few names: Mr. Kadrada, Mr. Nelson Mandela, and the father of our former president, Govan Mbeki. Ladies and gentlemen, the list is endless. The time they came here, ladies and gentlemen, they were told that they're gonna work only for 6 months. The 6 months was extended to plus minus 14 years. Ladies and gentlemen, they were working 8 hours per day, 5 days a week. They were not given the protective equipment. The time they asked for it, they were told it's not part of their uniform. Ladies and gentlemen, this quarry was not used by that time. Then later on, it was used in order to maintain the roads of Robben Island. Ladies and gentlemen, this quarry is very dangerous. Some of the ex-political prisoners that are still alive today, they are suffering with cancer. Even Mr. Nelson Mandela went on eye operation as a result of this quarry. Ladies and gentlemen, the time they were performing their hard labor, there were warders here who were making sure that no one is trying to escape. Otherwise, those warders, they were instructed to shoot them. But not just to shoot. but to shoot, to kill. On your right hand side, ladies and gentlemen, this is the clinic of Robben Island. It was used as the hospital for only the warders. Now everyone can go to the clinic. And on your left hand side, these are the sports facilities that were designed by the prisoners but were used by warders. Ladies and gentlemen, on your right hand side, this is the Garrison Church, one of the oldest building here in Robben Island. It was built in 1841. Ladies and gentlemen, this church was used by the nurses and the doctors that were treating people suffering with leprosy. Then now, there is a tradition in each and every year, 14th of February, which is the Valentine's Day here in South Africa, people are getting married to this church. Everyone is allowed to book. Ladies and gentlemen, I was told that if you tie a knot to this church, then your marriage becomes a life sentence. Ladies and gentlemen, there is also a tradition here. If a baby boy is born, you will see a blue flag on top of this church. Then if it's a girl, you will see a pink flag. The building on your left hand side, just in front of us, this is the John Brigg Hall. That was built by civil engineer of Robben Island in 1943. Thank you. Used as a place for refreshment, and we do have the resting rooms there. We're gonna take 10 minutes break. When you return, please sit where you seated to avoid the fights, ladies and gentlemen. You are not allowed to take anything.
On Robben Island, there's kind of windy, but we're just on a little break, just going around the island, learning about what happened here, you know, during the apartheid era. It's been interesting so far, and it's gorgeous.
The gentleman was responsible for the whole of this section. This was our storeroom. That's where we would store our cleaning material because, as prisoners, we were responsible for cleaning this place ourselves. I spent the rest of my sentence in this section, in that cell tower. When I first came here in this section, I found that these cells were given names by prisoners who came before me. Ours was called runners. That's where I spent the rest of my sentence. Please follow me. This photo in front of you, it is the photo of the former political prisoners. All these gentlemen you see here were all in the secondary leaders. This is the photo of this place, B section courtyard. Here prisoners were crushing stones during that period of hard labor. This is Mr. Nelson Mandela and his great mentor, great confidential, Walter Sisulu, the apartheid now. The photo was taken in 1966. From that black hole downward, that area then used to be the garden of Mr. Nelson Mandela. That's where the manuscript was found buried. Fortunately, that manuscript was the second manuscript, but the first manuscript was already smuggled out of this prison with the sense of a lawyer. When Mr. Mac Maharaj, the gentleman here, was released from this prison in 1976, he then transported that manuscript to London, where it was printed and published as the book titled Long Walk to Freedom by Mr. Nelson Mandela. in this country. In the year 1976, we had what was called Soweto uprisings, when those young students were fighting against that system of education, which was meant to make black people nothing but slaves. Some of those students were shot at and killed. Some of them skipped the border of this country, went to exile for military training in Angola and elsewhere. But some of them got arrested, brought to this place. When they first came here, they were military, defying all the laws and records of this prison, saying that they were not here to work in those quarries, but to serve their senators. They gave others a hard time. That's why in 1977, authorities decided to erect these walls, to divide the older generation of the Mandelas and those young students who came here in 1977, 78, 79. Remember that Mr. Nelson Mandela was in this prison from 1964 up to 1982, 18 years in this place. Because in 1982, Mr. Nelson Mandela, Ahmed Katrada, Walter Sisulu, Raymond himself were then taken to Pollsmoor prison outside Cape Town. That's where Mr. Nelson Mandela spent another 7 years, from Pollsmoor prison to Victor Foster prison in Paarl, where he spent another 2 years before he was released in 1990, February 11. The years he spent in prison, in total he spent 27 years in prison. Remember that Mr. Nelson Mandela, he is the one who formed the military wing of the ANC, Umkhonto weSizwe, the spear of the nation. After so many decades of non-violent struggle, peaceful method of struggle, the turning point was in 1960, when people were protesting, demonstrating peacefully against the past laws, were mercilessly mowed down by machine gun fire. 69 people were killed there, including women and children. Most of those people were shot at the back to show that they were running away, but nevertheless they were killed. That was the turning point. Mr. Nelson Mandela was sentenced to life imprisonment, charged with sabotage. On his charge sheet, charges were that he left this country without a passport. He entered this country again without a passport. He underwent military training in Algeria, Morocco, and Ethiopia. He organized funds for armed struggle in this country. He was involved in those acts of sabotage. That's why he was sentenced to life in prison. From left to right,